Let me ask you something straight up. What if I told you that everything you've been chasing, success, happiness, love, wealth, peace of mind, was just 1 hour away? Would you give me that hour? Would you trade Netflix, TikTok, scrolling through everyone else's life for only an hour to build yours? I want to take you back to a time in my life where I had absolutely nothing. I was broke. Not just financially, emotionally. I felt stuck. You ever been there? You're doing so much, yet nothing's changing. Until one day I decided, you change. I gave myself 1 hour a day, just 60 minutes. And that was the hour I built my destiny. Let's be honest. We live in a world where people wear busy like a badge of honor. Everyone's running, multitasking, attending meetings, replying to emails, switching between 5 apps at once. And at the end of the day, they fall into bed exhausted, yet somehow they've achieved nothing meaningful. Have you ever felt that way? Like you've done everything and yet made no real progress? That's the trap of scattered effort. It feels like movement, but it's not momentum. Now contrast that with this. Imagine giving yourself just 1 hour every day, not just any hour, but an hour of pure, intentional, undistracted focus. 1 hour where your phone is off, your notifications silenced, your mind tuned into one specific mission, whether it's writing, planning, studying, creating, exercising, learning a new skill, or building your business. No multitasking. Reacting, just deliberate action toward one goal. That 1 hour has the power to produce more meaningful results than 10 hours of hard, distracted work spread across your day. Because focus is a superpower, and in a noisy world, it's the rarest and most valuable currency. Let me give you a real-life example. There's a man named John who always dreamed of writing a book. For years, he kept telling himself, I'll start when I have more time. I'll begin next weekend. Maybe when things calm down. You know how that story goes. 5 years passed and all he had was a bunch of ideas and 0 pages. One day, after hearing a talk about the power of intentional focus, John made a simple decision. He would wake up 1 hour earlier and spend that hour every single day. Just writing, no phone, no distractions, just the keyboard and his thoughts. The first few days were tough. He battled resistance, self-doubt, and the voice in his head telling him this wouldn't matter. He stuck with it. By the end of the first week, he had written 3,000 words. By the end of the first month, he had 15,000 words. And by the 6th month, he had completed the first draft of his book. Not only that, he built momentum. He was more energized, more proud, more connected to his purpose. All from that 1 hour a day. Now let's do the math here. That's 180 hours in 6 months. Think about how many people say they want to write a book, start a business, or transform their body, and yet go 6 months without giving even 10 focused hours to it. John gave 180 just by setting aside a single intentional hour daily. That's the difference between dreaming and doing. Here's what you need to understand. When you give your full attention to something, even for a short time, you enter what psychologists call flow state. This is when you're most creative, productive, and mentally sharp. In this state, an hour can feel like magic. Ideas flow, problems get solved, confidence rises, time expands. But when you're scattered, constantly checking your phone, thinking about 10 different things, switching tabs every 2 minutes, your brain stays in survival mode. You may be working, but you're not creating, you're not progressing. You're treading water. Imagine a beam of sunlight on its own, it warms your skin. But when you concentrate it through a magnifying glass, it can start a fire. Your focus works the same way. Scattered light warms, focused light burns. And you, my friend, are not meant to warm the surface. You're meant to ignite something powerful within. Look around at anyone who's achieved something extraordinary, whether it's Steve Jobs, Serena Williams, Elon Musk, or your local entrepreneur who turned a side hustle into a thriving business. None of them got there by dabbling. They gave their mission daily intentional focus, even when it wasn't easy, especially when it wasn't easy. Intentional focus isn't about working more. It's about working smarter, deeper, and with purpose. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to overhaul your life to start. You just need to reclaim 1 hour. 1 hour where you don't just show up. You show up, oh fire. You decide this hour is for me and my future. You can use that hour to learn a language, plan your finances, build a website, study a course, train your body, strengthen your mindset, whatever aligns with your next level. And once you make that hour a habit, something magical happens. Your brain starts to believe, I'm the kind of person who shows up, I'm the kind of person who follows through. That identity shift alone can change your destiny. The truth is, 24 hours in a day isn't the issue, it's the quality of how you use just one of them, because an hour of real focus beats a whole day of distraction every time. So stop saying, too busy. Start asking, what can I do with 1 hour of power? Starting today, because one intentional hour a day isn't just more powerful than 10 hours of scattered effort. It's the secret weapon most people never tap into. And now, what you do with it, that's your move. We live in an instant food, instant likes, instant results, or at least that's what it looks like on the surface. You scroll through social media and see someone post their six-pack abs, their $1,000,000 business, their dream vacation, and you think, whoa, they just made it overnight. But let me be real with you. There is no such thing as overnight success. What looks like a moment of victory is actually the result of hundreds, even thousands of unseen hours, decisions, sacrifices, and efforts that no one talks about. Success doesn't happen in one giant leap. It happens in small, daily, intentional steps. Picture this, there's a man named David, a regular guy, works a 9 to 5, has 2 kids, barely has time to breathe, let alone build a dream. But deep down, he has a vision. He wants to start a fitness coaching business. He's not trying to be famous. He just wants to live with purpose, help people, and create freedom for his family. At first, it feels impossible, too big, too far away, but instead of waiting for the perfect time, he carves out 1 hour a day. That's it. Just 60 minutes every evening after his kids go to bed. At first, the hour feels small, insignificant. He's researching business models, writing down ideas, filming rough videos. It doesn't feel like success. It feels like planting seeds, but he keeps going 1 hour every day. No excuses. 1 month in, he's got a plan. 2 months in, he's posting content. 3 months in, he's coaching his first client. And within a year, his side hustle becomes his full-time passion. People say, whoa, you blew up so fast. But David knows the truth. It wasn't fast. It wasn't luck. It was built daily, 1 hour at a time. That's how success works. It's not about huge actions once in a while. It's about small actions consistently. It's about showing up even when it's hard, even when no one is watching, even when you don't feel motivated. Because the real game is won in the hours no one sees. Think about the gym. If you go one time and expect to be ripped the next morning, you're going to be disappointed. But if you show up every day for 1 hour, 6 months from now, people will stop and ask you, what's your secret? And your answer will be simple. I showed up daily. I didn't try to do it all at once. I did what I could, and I did it consistently. Let's take another example, learning a new skill. Maybe it's graphic design, photography, coding, public speaking, whatever lights your fire. You don't become a master in a day. You don't read one book or watch one YouTube video and suddenly become world class. But if you gave 1 hour every single day to that craft, no distractions, no scrolling, no half-hearted effort, in 1 year, you'd be unrecognizable from who you are today. You'd have more confidence, more opportunities, more momentum. All because you respected the power of daily commitment. Success is a lot like brushing your teeth. You can't just do it once for 2 hours and say, I'm good for the month. No, it's the daily practice that creates the long-term result. And here's the good news. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. You just need to change what you do with 1 hour of it every day. The reason most people don't succeed isn't because they don't have talent. It's because they don't have patience. They want the harvest without the planting. They want the results without the reps. But the people who win, truly build something that lasts, are the ones who say, I'll do it today, and I'll do it again tomorrow and again the next day, brick by brick, hour by hour. That's how legacies are built. And don't be fooled by how ordinary the process feels. That hour may not be glamorous. It might not feel life-changing in the moment. Success rarely feels epic while you're building it. It feels quiet. It feels routine. It feels like waking up early when you'd rather sleep in, choosing progress over comfort, pushing forward and no one is clapping for you. But later, when you look back, that ordinary hour will be what made you extraordinary. So ask yourself this: what could one focused hour a day do for your life over the next year? What could it do for your finances, your relationships, your mindset, your career? It won't be obvious after the first few days, but stack those days, stack that time, and you'll be living proof that success isn't an event, it's a practice. It's not built in a single breakthrough. It's built 1 hour at a time, every single day. Your future is not waiting on a miracle. It's waiting on your discipline. It's waiting you to value daily effort more than occasional intensity, because that's where greatness lies, in the grind, in the habits, in the hour that no one sees. Everyone eventually feels. Success is built daily, not in a day, 1 hour at a time. You don't need more time. You just need to start today. Let's not sugarcoat it. The number one excuse people give for not pursuing their goals, improving their health, building their dream, or learning something new is this: I just don't have time. But let's get real for a second. You do have time. In fact, you already have the hour you think you're missing. You're just giving it away to things that don't serve you. And the worst part, most of us don't even realize it. We live in a world where time gets stolen in micro moments. A scroll here, a swipe there, you open your phone to check one message, and suddenly you've been on Instagram for 47 minutes watching videos of dogs dancing, people cooking pasta, and strangers' lips syncing to songs you don't even like. But when it comes to that business idea you have, when it's time to work out, study, or write that blog you keep talking about, suddenly your brain says, there's no time. That's not truth. That's a habit. Let me give you a real life example. Meet Sarah. A single mom working full time, raising 2 kids, juggling laundry, school runs, meetings, all the chaos of real life. On paper, she had 0 time, but she had a dream to become a certified life coach. Not just for money, but because she knew her purpose was to help others. For months, she told herself, I'll start when I have more time. Then one night, exhausted, she checked her screen time out of curiosity. 5 hours, that's how much time she spent that day on her phone, mostly on social media and YouTube. And it hit her like a truck. She didn't lack time, she lacked awareness. So the next morning, she made a promise 1 hour a day just for her dream. She set her alarm earlier. No phone, no noise. She studied, watched coaching modules, took notes, practiced her skills 1 hour every day. 6 months later, she passed her certification. 1 year later, she had a side business. 2 years later, she went full time, and she didn't do it by finding more time. She did it by reclaiming the time she already had. That's what you need to understand. The hour is already yours. You're just leasing it out to distractions that will never pay you back. Think about how much time we all waste mindlessly. 15 minutes hitting snooze. 20 minutes scrolling first thing in the morning. 30 minutes watching just one more episode. 40 minutes complaining or worrying about things we're not changing. It adds up. Now imagine this. What if you took that same time and gave it back to yourself? What if instead of watching someone else live their dream on social media, you spent 1 hour building yours? Distractions are sneaky. They feel harmless, relaxing even, but they are dream killers in disguise, because while they give you short-term comfort, they rob you of long-term progress. They don't ask permission. They creep in a notification here, quick check there. And before you know it, the hour you could have used to change your life is gone. And it's not just phones, it's gossip, it's overthinking. It's procrastinating under the disguise of research. It's perfectionism keeping you stuck on the starting line. All of these things act like they belong in your life. They're squatters stealing your most valuable asset, your time. And here's the thing, you're not lazy. You're just distracted, because distraction is the new addiction. But awareness is the cure. When you know you have the hour, you can take it back. You can put boundaries on your time. You can use apps to track and limit your screen time. You can say no to the endless, busy work that fills your day but doesn't move you forward. You can stop letting other people's emergencies hijack your goals. And most importantly, you can choose to give yourself the time you deserve. Let's be clear. This isn't about perfection. You don't have to be a monk, unplugged from society, or hustle 24/7. You just need 1 hour. One focused, distraction-free, intentional hour where it's just you and the thing that matters most to your growth. That's it. And you don't find that hour, you create it. You reclaim it from the noise. You fight for it like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Because what you do with your hours today determines the life you live tomorrow. So next time you catch yourself saying, I don't have time, ask yourself instead, what am I giving my time to? And if the answer doesn't align with your purpose, your goals, or your highest self, then it's time to take it back. Because the truth is, you already have an hour. And when you reclaim it from distractions, you reclaim your power, growth, your future, your life. In a world that constantly demands our attention, our energy, and our presence for everything and everyone else, there must be one space, one sacred, untouchable space. That is just for you. That's what your 1 hour a day becomes. It's not just time on a clock. It's not just another checkbox in your planner. Is your sanctuary the place where you plant the seeds of your evolution? It's the quiet room where you meet your future self. And you get to choose what kind of growth happens there. It could be your body, your mind, your skill, your business, or all of them, one day at a time. Let's be honest, life will always be loud. You'll always have reasons to stay busy, to take care of others, to keep running on the treadmill of survival. But survival isn't why you're here. You're not on this earth to just pay bills, answer emails, and scroll your way to the end. You're here to evolve, to contribute, to become. And that doesn't happen by accident. It happens in your sanctuary, 1 hour at a time. Think of it like this. A tree doesn't grow in chaos. It grows in a space where it can stretch toward the light. That's what this 1 hour gives you. A space where you can stretch, build, and transform without interference. Let me give you a real example. There's a guy named Lewis, 30s, works a stressful corporate job, commutes every day, loves his family, but feels like he's slowly disappearing in the noise of daily life. He's gained weight. He's always tired. He hasn't picked up a book in years, even though he used to love reading. He has this quiet, nagging voice in his head that whispers, "This isn't who you were meant to be." One day he decides to take back 1 hour, not 2, not 10, just one. He starts small, 30 minutes walking while listening to audiobooks. 30 minutes journaling, that's his sanctuary. No work calls, no texts, no pressure, just space for himself. After a few weeks, he's sleeping better, thinking clearer. After a couple of months, he adds weight training. He switches out junk food for something healthier. He starts planning a side hustle. His confidence returns, not because life got easier, but because he made space to grow inside it. That's the power of one sacred hour. For some people, that hour becomes their gym time, their hour of power. It's not just about burning calories. It's where they burn away self-doubt and rebuild their strength, physically and mentally. For others, it's mental mastery. That hour becomes reading, listening to podcasts, meditating, or journaling. It's where they learn how to rewire their thoughts, gain clarity, and upgrade their mindset. For someone else, it's learning a new skill. Maybe it's graphic design, coding, public speaking, playing the guitar, or speaking a new language. That hour becomes a time machine. Because every day you pour into a skill, you fast forward your growth. And for some, it's spiritual, a walk in silence, prayer, meditation, reflection. Not about religion, but about reconnection with themselves, with their purpose, with something deeper. For the dreamers and doers, that hour is business. It's where they plan, build, create, fail, start again, and build their vision one brick at a time. What you do with that hour is yours to define. What's not optional, if you want to grow, is whether or not you give yourself that space. You see, growth doesn't happen while you're putting out fires all day. It doesn't happen while your attention is pulled in 100 directions. Growth needs focus. It needs intention. It needs room to breathe. That's what this hour is. It's not selfish. It's essential. Because when you give yourself this time, you don't just grow in that hour. The growth spills over into every part of your life. When your body gets stronger, you show up with more energy. When your mind gets sharper, you make better decisions. When your skill grows, you increase your opportunities. When your spirit is centered, you find peace in the chaos. And when your business grows, your freedom expands. 1 hour. That's the doorway, but it has to be sacred. It has to be protected. No distractions, no compromise. Because if you don't carve out a sanctuary for your growth, the world will fill your schedule with distractions. If you don't decide what your hour will be used for, someone else will. So ask yourself, what do I want to grow into? What version of me am I building? What kind of life could I create if I gave myself just 1 hour a day to focus on it with everything I've got? It's not about what you have now. It's about what you're becoming. And you don't need to change your whole life overnight. You just need 1 hour to train, to learn, to build, to grow. That 1 hour a day is your sanctuary. Protect it. Show up for it. Because inside that 1 hour, your future is quietly waiting. If you were to ask 100 people why they haven't started pursuing their goals, most of them wouldn't say it's because they lack ambition. They wouldn't say it's because they don't have dreams or talent or desire. They'd say, I just don't have enough time. But the truth is, time isn't the real issue. Time is not hiding from you. Every single person on this planet gets the same 24 hours. The difference between those who build something extraordinary and those who stay stuck isn't time. It's direction. It's clarity. It's knowing exactly where you're going and why you're going there. Think about a car with a full tank of gas but no GPS, no map, no destination. It can drive all day and burn through energy, but it won't arrive anywhere meaningful. That's what life feels like for so many people. Busy, full, exhausting. But directionless, you're doing all the things, checking off, tasks, staying in motion, but deep down, you're wondering, why does none of this feel like progress? That's because motion without meaning is just noise. But even a single hour driven by purpose can shift everything. Let's look at a real life example. There's a woman named Tasha. She's a hard worker, juggling a demanding job, 2 kids, and aging parents. Her days are completely packed. She wakes up tired and goes to bed even more exhausted. Yet every night she feels this ache inside, like she's living in survival mode, not truly living. She wants to do something that matters to her. She wants to write, maybe even start a nonprofit. But the idea feels so big and the time feels so short. One day, a mentor asks her a simple question, Tasha, if you did have an hour, what exactly would you do with it? She pauses. She doesn't know, because the truth is, she's been focusing so much on what she doesn't have, she's never defined what she would do if she had the time. That's when it clicks. Time isn't her enemy, lack of direction is. So she sits down, she gets clear, she writes out what she wants to create, why it matters to her, and the first small steps she can take. She sets a goal. 1 hour a day to work on her writing, to plan her nonprofit, to dream and build with direction. And that hour, it transforms her. Because now she's not just moving, she's moving with meaning. Now, every email she declines, every no she says to a distraction has purpose behind it. Her decisions become powerful, her energy becomes focused, and that more than time is what begins to change her life. Direction is like a magnet for progress. When you know where you're going, even small steps feel significant. You stop comparing yourself to everyone else because you're not just wandering, you're building something real. That's why clarity beats hustle every single time. You don't need more hours in your day. What you need is one clear reason to show up. You need to stop asking, how can I do everything? And start asking, what matters most right now? Because when you don't have direction, even 10 free hours can be wasted. But with direction, just one focused hour becomes a breakthrough. Let's take another example. Jamal, a college student trying to figure out his future. He's dabbling in 3 different majors, time constantly switching gears, feeling overwhelmed and unsure. He keeps thinking, if I had more time, I could figure things out. But time isn't the problem. It's the fact that he's running in circles without a compass, so he stops. He spends 1 hour, just one, asking himself the hard questions. What do I actually love? Problems do I want to solve? What excites me and scares me at the same time? From that single hour of reflection, he gets clarity. He narrows his focus, drops 2 distractions, and invests his energy into a single direction. Now everything he does starts to align, and that alignment creates momentum, because direction turns chaos into clarity. Direction turns your time into a tool instead of a trap. It's not about squeezing more into your schedule. It's about making sure what you're doing matters. When you're clear, you stop chasing shiny things. You stop waking up with dread and start waking up with fire. You stop saying yes to everything and start saying hell yes only to the things that move you forward. That's the shift. You don't need a new calendar. You don't need a fancy app to track your minutes. You need a mission, a focus, a why that makes you want to fight for that hour. So here's the challenge. Take 1 hour to do more, but to think more. Reflect more. Get clear. Ask yourself, what is the one area of my life I want to transform? What does success look like for me in that area? What's one small action I can repeat every day toward that vision? Because when your hour has direction, it becomes unstoppable. It's not about how much time you have. It's about how much purpose you bring to the time you do have. You don't need more time. You need more direction. And once you find that direction, even the smallest hour becomes a force that can change your entire life. Let's be honest. Everyone waits for motivation. We wait to feel inspired, excited, lit up before we begin anything. We say things like, I'll start working out when I feel more energized, or I'll launch that business when the time feels right. I'll write that book when the inspiration hits. But let me tell you the truth that every top performer, elite athlete, successful entrepreneur, and fulfilled human being eventually learns motivation is unreliable. But momentum is everything. The only way you create momentum is by doing, not waiting, by showing up 1 hour at a time, every day. Motivation is a spark. Momentum is a fire. Sparks come and go. But when you build a fire, it sustains itself, it grows, it spreads, and it starts to fuel you instead of the other way around. So many people think they're stuck because they're not motivated enough. But they're not stuck because of a lack of passion. They're stuck because they haven't built any momentum. And momentum doesn't come from one big burst of energy. It comes from daily consistency, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when no one is clapping. Let's take a real life example. There's a man named Carl. He wanted to lose weight for years. He tried every diet, watched every video, bought every program. And every Monday, full of motivation, full of plans. But by Thursday, he'd be drained. Skipped a workout, ordered takeout, told himself he'd try again next week. This went on for years. Then one day his coach told him something that changed everything. Carl, stop trying to be perfect. Just give me 1 hour a day, not at full speed, with motivation, just consistent, imperfect effort every single day. So Carl did it. He didn't wait to feel like it. He didn't aim to crush it. He just committed to moving for 1 hour every day, even if it was walking, even if it was light stretching, even if it was slow. The first week, nothing magical happened. By the second week, something shifted, not in his body, in his mind. He stopped negotiating with himself. He didn't ask, do I feel like it? He simply did it. And a month later, he started seeing results, not just in his weight, but in his habits. He had momentum. And momentum was doing what motivation never could. It was pushing him forward automatically, because once you build momentum, you no longer rely on mood, you rely on motion. And motion is powerful. Motion builds belief. It builds identity. It makes you say, I'm doing this, instead of I'm trying. Another example, take Jessica, an aspiring writer who had a dream of publishing a novel. Every time she sat down to write, she waited for the perfect words, the perfect setup, the perfect mood. And because of that, months would pass without a single page written. Then she made a decision. Just 1 hour a day, no pressure, no perfection. Just write. At first, the writing was rough, ugly even. She hated it, but she kept going. Every day, 1 hour, and a few weeks in, something clicked. The words started flowing. The fear started fading. She stopped questioning whether she was good enough and started realizing that showing up daily was the answer. 6 months later, she finished the first draft of her novel, something she'd been trying to do for 5 years. Not because she found some magical motivation, but because she found rhythm. She created momentum. Here's what you need to remember. Your brain loves motion. When you do something consistently, your brain starts to associate it with your identity. You stop seeing it as a task and start seeing it as who you are. You're not someone trying to work out. You're an athlete in training. You're not trying to start a business. You're a creator building something. You're not trying to improve your mindset. You're a leader sharpening your edge. That shift doesn't come from motivation. It comes from showing up when it's hard, from honoring the hour even when you don't feel like it. That's where transformation begins. You don't get momentum by thinking, you get it by moving. And the beautiful thing, once you get a little momentum, it starts to carry you. Your 1 hour becomes 2. Your 5 push-ups become 20. Your side hustle gets its first client. Your self-doubt quiets down because you're not relying on inspiration anymore. You're driven by identity. That's what momentum gives you ownership. It says, I don't need to feel it, I just do it. And when you operate from that space, you become unstoppable. So stop waiting for motivation to knock. Stop hoping to feel ready. Instead, build your hour. Build your rhythm. Let that one consistent hour become your daily vote for the future you. Because momentum doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing something with discipline, with direction, with consistency. And once momentum is on your side, the world better watch out. Because you won't just chase your goals, you'll run through them. Every single person walking this earth has dreams. Some are loud and bold. The desire to start a business, write a best-selling book, change careers, build a strong body, make a difference in the world. Others are quiet, like wanting to be more present, more confident, more at peace. But whether your dream is massive or deeply personal, the one thing it's waiting for is your action, not your perfect plan, not your someday maybe, but your daily, consistent commitment. 1 hour a day is how you prove to yourself, not to the world, but to yourself, that your goals are not just wishful thinking. They're real, they matter. And you're ready to honor them. Because here's the hard truth. If you're not willing to give 1 hour of your 24 to your goal, it's not that your goal is too big. It's that your belief is too small. And the only way belief grows is through evidence. And action is the evidence. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine someone you care about deeply, a friend, a child, your partner, tells you that something is really important to them. They come to you full of excitement and say, this dream is everything to me. Now imagine watching them every day do the exact opposite of what it would take to move toward that dream. They scroll, they procrastinate, they say, maybe later. Eventually you'd stop believing them. Right now, let me ask you, how often have you told yourself that your goal matters, but then failed to act on it day after day? That's what 1 hour does. It rebuilds trust with yourself. It's you saying, I mean what I say. I'm not just talking, I'm becoming. And when you do that consistently, something incredible happens. Your confidence comes back. Your energy rises. You stop feeling like a fraud and start feeling like a force. Let's take a real life example. There's a woman named Maria. She always dreamed of becoming a speaker and inspiring others, but every time she thought about getting started, self-doubt screamed louder than her ambition. She'd watch videos of successful speakers and think, who am I to do that? So she buried the dream under excuses. I'm too busy. I've missed my window. Maybe next year. Then one day during a podcast, she heard the quote, discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. That line hit her hard because what she wanted now was comfort, but what she wanted most was impact, so she decided to commit to 1 hour a day. 1 hour for her dream. She didn't know what she was doing at first. She just started small, reading books on speaking, writing stories from her life, practicing out loud in the mirror, and here's what changed her belief. Every hour she showed up, she proved to herself that she wasn't just someone with a dream. She was someone in pursuit of it. Fast forward 8 months, she gave her first paid talk at a local event. A year later, she had a podcast, a brand, and a growing audience. It didn't happen because she was the most talented. It didn't happen because she had all the answers. It happened because she made one decision: to treat her goal like it mattered. That's what 1 hour a day does. It's not just about progress, it's about identity. Every day you invest that hour, you are saying, my health matters. My dream matters. My peace of mind matters, my future matters, and that becomes your quiet revolution. The world might not notice at first, but you will. You'll feel it. That internal shift from hoping to owning, from wishing to working. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about hustle or burnout. It's about alignment. It's about making time for the one thing that gives you fire. Because when you honor your goals, even just for 1 hour, your life starts to organize itself around what matters most. You'll start making better choices. You'll stop giving energy to things that drain you. You'll notice your standards rise, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you've decided to respect yourself. And here's something powerful to remember. When you don't show up for your dream, it's not just you who misses out. The people who need your gift, your message, your leadership, they miss out too. So if your goal is to build a better life, to serve others, to leave a legacy, then showing up for that 1 hour each day isn't just personal, it's purposeful. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to know the final destination. You just need to give yourself that sacred hour and move. Because movement builds belief. And belief builds momentum. Momentum builds transformation. So the question isn't, do you have the time? The real question is, are you ready to treat your goals like they matter? Because if you are, then give yourself 1 hour and watch how that one choice starts to change everything. We often think success comes from giant leaps. A viral breakthrough, a six-figure launch, a dramatic transformation that shocks the world. But in truth, greatness is never built in sudden explosions. It's built in the quiet, powerful rhythm of small daily wins. The kind of wins that seem invisible to the outside world, but internally, they're everything. These daily victories don't just bring progress. They reprogram your brain. They turn self-doubt into certainty, fear into fuel, chaos into clarity. 1 hour a day filled with small, intentional wins is how you begin to sculpt a mind that's wired for confidence, consistency, and unstoppable achievement. You see, your brain is like a garden. Whatever seeds you plant and water every day begin to grow, and those seeds are your actions. If you constantly feed it frustration, procrastination, comparison, then insecurity and hesitation will bloom. But if every single day you give it even the smallest win, finishing a workout, writing a paragraph, learning one new skill, meditating, making one sales call, then your brain begins to expect progress. It starts to crave it. You begin to see yourself not as someone trying, but as someone becoming. Let's take a real-world example. There's a guy named Ethan. He's a software developer with a dream of becoming an entrepreneur. But like so many people, he was stuck. Not because he wasn't smart, but because every time he thought about building a business, he got overwhelmed. The whole vision felt like too much. The branding, the tech, the product, the marketing, he'd start for a day or two, then quit. Then beat himself up and start the cycle again. But then a mentor told him, don't try to build a business, just try to win today. So Ethan did. He gave himself 1 hour a day, and instead of trying to conquer everything, he broke it down into micro wins. Day 1, mission statement. Day 20, research competitors. Day 30, buy your domain. Day 4, you can sketch a logo. Each task was simple, manageable. But here's the magic. He stacked wins, and after 2 weeks of showing up, something shifted. He started to feel confident. Why? Because his brain had new evidence. Evidence that said, I can start, I can finish, I keep promises to myself. That's what small daily wins do. They become the proof your brain uses to build belief. It's neuroscience, not just motivation. When you complete a task, even a small one, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of reward. That hit of dopamine creates a feedback loop. It says, this feels good, let's do it again. And the more you repeat this loop, the more your brain hardwires that behavior. Suddenly, showing up becomes a habit. Success stops being a fantasy and starts being a pattern, not because of one massive breakthrough, but because of hundreds of tiny, invisible wins that no one sees but you. And the best part, these wins compound. Think about a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's small, but as it moves, it collects more snow, more speed, more power. Your daily wins are the same. One paragraph becomes a chapter, one workout becomes a routine, one skill becomes a strength, one sale becomes a business. And over time, people will look at you and say, wow, you're so disciplined. But it won't feel like discipline to you. It'll just feel like who you are. Because that's what happens when you win daily. You don't just build results. You build identity, and identity is what drives long-term success. Let's take another story. A young woman named Priya wanted to get better at public speaking. She had a big dream of becoming a tech speaker, but every time she spoke in public, she froze. Her hands shook. Her confidence collapsed. She thought maybe she just wasn't cut out for it. Then she gave herself a challenge, 1 hour a day. For 30 days, each day, she would record a short speech on her phone. No one else had to hear it, just her. Her goal wasn't to be perfect. Her goal was to improve by 1% every day, and she did. It was awkward. Day 5 was slightly better. By day 15, she was speaking with passion. By day 30, she showed one of her videos to a friend who encouraged her to apply to speak at a small local event. 6 months later, she stood on a stage in front of 500 people and delivered a talk that moved the crowd to a standing ovation. Not because she woke up with courage, but because every day she won. And those wins rewired her fear into confidence. That's what's available to you every single day. You don't need to change your entire life in a week. You just need to collect small wins. They might look small, but inside they're building an unshackable version of you. The kind of you that believes. The kind of you that finishes. The kind of you that turns intention into identity. So if you're doubting yourself right now, don't try to fix everything. Don't wait for a miracle. Just win today. Show up for 1 hour, take one step, and tomorrow take another. Because when you build a habit of winning the hour, you build a life of winning the game.